Alright guys, welcome on back to part 17 of the NieR Replicant Let's Play series. Basically, the last episode was just me essentially reading a book to you guys. On this one, it's going to be continuing the Death Dream, but we are, it's more of a, I'm showing you guys if you do the rest of this quest, you will get a weapon. You will get a weapon called Faith, which is actually a really good weapon. I don't know if I'll use it because I have these DLC weapons, but I am trying to get all the weapons through this playthrough. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk to the rest of the village, and we will have more novels and more adventures through reading that we will have to do. Alright, so let's start with this guy over here on the left. Girl. Guy. Definitely guy.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sort of creeps me out.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
Really cool because this entire forest just gives me Zelda vibes. Okay, I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway in the long, unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside, I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes, and eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Jesus Christ. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior! I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me! I cry. For the love of all gods! Help me! Impossibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy and a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you, I ask, shaking hands, covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Cloud. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Cloud extends his hand and pulls me from the cell. Through my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom. My ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear that again, I whisper. Would that this were, that's such a weird way of saying that. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open. I see water pooling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time that long-forgotten friend made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers no matter the cost. The castle's catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. That's fucking gross. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Sorry. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. That probably stinks. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know, and sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim corridors. Let's go east. West. I think I remember the way. I think it's east, then north. I recall it's east. At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table, upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the movement I saw. This once splendid feast was nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands and slowly back away from the table, desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me. My gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs prove to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat up the back and down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment, though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. I squint down the dim corridors, and if I recall correctly, it's north. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. "Break it down," someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Cloud and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives away, and we find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. "How can I thank you?" I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters. Oh, it's a girl. And sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. "Your dress?" asked Weiss. "Then you are a woman, madman." Oh, madman. Madam. I am. I proffer the two with a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Cloud is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. Perf. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening, but behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle. providing the countless damsels inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. Mirrors, windows, same fucking diff. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that.
Okay, so we have freed her. Ooh, what's this? I see a box. Hell yeah, medicinal herb.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
Enter this villager's dream, yes.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Weiss.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Cloud had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Weiss?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Cloud nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there were thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Cloud lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke, he said. No, no joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it this way might make it easier for you to bear. Cloud glanced at Weiss's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Cloud's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than he thought possible. I feel that right now. After all this reading, sheesh. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. We are definitely getting closer, said Weiss, in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Cloud lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. Water, he cried. It's water! Water? Asked Weiss. Preposterous. I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead of us. Look, the sun is reflecting off of it. Without waiting for a response, Cloud sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Cloud closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Cloud shook his head bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is! I just missed it! Look, it's right there! Cloud sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Cloud came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Cloud and struck him in the face with his cover. Enough, you blithering idiot! Stop this at once! There is no water here! Cloud's face clouded. That's funny. There isn't? There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the City of Art. Cloud looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. They're huge, cried Cloud, completely forgetting the heat and pain for the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big, that's what she said. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky. But that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Said Cloud. Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Cloud and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Cloud uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. These 3 statues were indistinguishable, except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Cloud moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. Hey, look at that, said Cloud. They're alive. The triplets bowed low before Cloud. Please, said Alpha, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Cloud and threw his hands in the air. Alpha's a fake. You know I'm the real one. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here. Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Weiss. Cloud furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth, the false ones will only speak lies. Okay, so Alpha said, please, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real. Beta said, stop lying. Alpha's a fake. You know I'm the real one. And then Gamma says, Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here. Okay, so one of them speaks the truth. The other 2 speak lies. I think it's Beta. Because he's talking about Alpha being a fake. And then gamma, I think that's just a trick because it's saying beta is fake. So I'm gonna say beta. The real one is beta. Though Cloud's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss, in the dry tones of a lecturer, beta and gamma would be fakes. But in that case, gamma's claim that beta is fake would be the truth, even though gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. Now let us presume that gamma spoke the truth. That makes alpha and beta liars. In this situation, however, beta is calling alpha a liar, which would leave us with two statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that beta is telling the truth. If so, alpha and gamma's lies would make sense, therefore beta must be real. As Weiss finished his explanation, alpha and gamma crumbled soundlessly into the dust while beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable cloud pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been to this city before? The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape and shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Cloud. Just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease that struck Cloud during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
You and me both, brother. I'm tired of reading.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Okay, so let's go talk to the mayor, and then after that, we should get our weapon.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you.
Obtained the one-handed sword Faith.
Wow, this looks valuable. I can really have it?
Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you again for everything.
Okay, so now that that is wrapped up, here is the Faith weapon. Like, if you don't download the NieR Automata DLC, honestly, Faith would be the route to go. Faith is a really good weapon, extremely quick, and honestly, you know, you're sitting at 147 as a level 1, and it's already set to very light, so it is a little faster than Virtuous Contract. And then you also get additional magic power, which is nice compared, since like you don't get that with either one of these. So I mean, honestly, I guess you could go really either route. I mean, you're only losing 3 damage or 3 attack power, which you can easily get back by adding or giving it words and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, that's how you get the Faith Sword. And I'll probably have the paths and stuff like that in the description down below, just so if you don't feel like watching the entire novel episode, you won't have to. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for tuning into this episode, and I will see you in the next one.